As this campaign has begun, we've seen many of the doors of Georgetown. We've seen them on posters and on our video, our campaign video. We've seen them on our banners outside. It's a fitting image because those doors, which we walk through and see every day, are iconic. They tie us to a history here and all the people who have walked through them and will walk through them. And for us who are alumni, they evoke a lot of memories. And so as I've walked around seeing these doors, my memory has been stirred. Of Dahlgren, where we celebrated a massive Thanksgiving for the donors of Dahlgren Chapel yesterday, I recall that's where I would pray alone often late at night. It was there where I first thought about becoming a Jesuit. It's there that I attended Father Healy's Monday night Mass. In Copley, those Copley doors, I lived in Copley. I live there now. But I lived there 20-so years ago on a community service floor. And I spent Sunday nights there in Freeze's Breeze, which is otherwise known as the Catholic Mass in 28 minutes. And that's where I dropped my articles for the Hoya off in the basement. White Gravener, of course, would be the building where many of us had classes, where our world became so much bigger by the ideas and the authors and the writers that we encountered. I remember my Problem of God course, where I was challenged to embrace an adult faith, a thinking faith there. And then, of course, there's Healy Gates. We've walked through them many of times. We probably walked through them this morning. When I was here, there was still traffic in the circle. It's hard to believe. As a student, I was summoned beyond those gates by John Carroll's tilted gaze out towards the city. I tutored in a public school. I interned at CNN. I worked on a presidential campaign. Far from my native home in South Florida, I encountered a splendid diversity which enriched my education. And then, of course, there's Healy doors, the doors we walked through this morning to get up to Gaston. Now, ironically, given my current position, I did not walk through them much on my way to campus ministry when I was a student. I frequented much more the less stately doors downstairs in the basement where our student center was. The student center, the GUSA offices, some of the corp offices, the student pub. There I delved into work, and there friendships were sealed. I wasted many an hour in those all-important conversations that mark time on the hilltop for us. But those doors upstairs on First Healy with the seal, those are the doors I've gone in and out of the last 3 years in my current role at Georgetown, the back of my alma mater. On very broad shoulders, the shoulders of some of the men behind me, and in shoes too big to fill, I open them now, and they are very heavy, as if bearing the tradition that is steeped all around us. All those people who walked in this building over the last 120 years on their way up to Gaston, the presidents and prime ministers and secretaries, cardinals, poet laureates, an actor or two, but most important, students like me, humbled by something far greater than ourselves. And a campaign like this, a campaign at Georgetown like this one, is not about self-promotion. And an education is not about self-aggrandizement. It's tempting because we have much to be proud of. But at a Catholic and Jesuit university, our campaigns, like our learning and our faith and our service and our scholarship, are about something greater than ourselves. For through those iconic doors downstairs and other doors on campus, above them or beyond them or around them, are etched the words which we see over our heads here. Ad maiorem Dei gloriam, inque hominem salutem, for the greater glory of God and the good of humanity. You see, we are not simply about our work here, we are about the Lord's work here. We give glory to God, the God who gathers us and then sends us out beyond the gates. And we do this glorifying by stretching mind, body, and spirit in the pursuit of truth and beauty and goodness. We give glory to God in our prayer and in our service, in our laying down our lives for each other and for the most broken and voiceless in our world, beyond the gates. As much as the people of our own time, the prophet Malachi in the first reading cautions us not to forget divine inspiration and holy summons. You see, the Lord had freed his people, Malachi's people, the people of Israel, from captivity in Babylon, and brought them back to their holy city, and they had rebuilt their temple and rededicated it. And yet it was all falling apart again because they had forgotten. They had forgotten to glorify God before all else. The rich were building themselves up at the expense of the poor. The religious and political leaders were concerning only about themselves. They were forgetting to give glory to God. Fast forward to Jesus' time. For the last few Sundays, we've seen religious leaders of Jesus' day take him on. And today, he's had enough. He lays into them once and for all, ending the conversation. And the indictment is final. They are hypocrites. They make other people's lives unbearable. They think only about themselves and not the Lord first. These are tough words, a tough message for today, but it is good for us to hear such a message sometimes because we are privileged with so much. We have been given so much. Because with all the good things that we have here and all the noble activity and all the honors and the attention, it can be tempting to forget the AMDG. But it's God's work. It's all a gift, is it not? And now we have to give it back. At Georgetown, I, you, students of today, they're schooled in gratitude. And this tradition is very much alive. It's all a gift. And as St. Paul writes, we should thank God unceasingly. Here I was schooled in gratitude and I was schooled in discipleship. Through whatever door I walked through, I was told, be grateful and give back. Be grateful and give back. We've called this different things over 220 years. But we've been doing what Catholic schools and Jesuit schools have done so well. We've been raising what we call today servant leaders. We've been giving students the imagination and the skills and the knowledge and the confidence to turn things upside down, humbling the exalted and exalting the humble. So this campaign, like everything else we do here at Georgetown, is about service. Giving back. This generation, our generation, gives so that future generations can enjoy what we have been given by others. And so how fitting it is that we begin this campaign with the Eucharist, with Mass. For in the Eucharist, which means thanksgiving, we give thanks to God for all that God has given. And here at this table, we are nourished to give back, to be servant leaders. And the promise that Jesus gave his disciples is a promise that remains for us today. The Lord will be with us today and for generations to come.